Yeah. So jealous that you have your hair and I don't get it no more. Hey everybody, this is Javier Balderramos. This is Planet Texas. I have the golden boy himself. I have Greg Anthony. I brought him on. I wanted to talk a little bit about John Cena. He only has four more dates left, and we need to watch them all. So we have two dates on Raw. We have one Survivor Series, and then we have a Saturday night's main event. And that's a wrap, and that's it. And that's his entire career. What do you think about this, Greg?
Well, I mean, it's the end of an era, I mean, literally speaking. I mean, John started, years ago in California. He actually, I live in Dyersburg, Tennessee, and that's mainly where, we hold our shows. And when he was the prototype in OVW, he actually came and wrestled in Dyersburg, Tennessee once. And I was in the locker room with him and I got to meet him, and he was a great guy and all that kind of stuff. And to see that him go on and have the kind of career he's had is has been amazing. And it's odd, it's odd. We're gonna be living in a world that John Cena no longer wrestles in.
You know, like what has been going on for 20 years now? Something, give or take.
Yeah, 2002 was his WWE debut, so yeah, I think he debuted a couple years before that, maybe like 99 ish. So yeah, it's been 25 years total. But yeah, it's just he's obviously, he's had an amazing career, and being the guy that, we talk about guys like Stone Cold and Hogan and guys like that, they were on top, you know, a shorter amount of time compared to Cena. Stone Cold's run was basically 3 or 4 years. Cena was on top for closer to 12, full time. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see, how everyone's reacting to it. He, for a long time, he was, they called him the most polarizing figure in WWE because no matter what it was, he got a reaction, whether it was a good reaction or a bad reaction, he got a reaction either way. And now it's like everyone's kind of embracing John Cena and for all the hard work he's finally accomplished. So hopefully he gets his flowers these last four dates.
It's a good thing he got rid of that heel turn that didn't lead to anywhere.
Yeah. And that was the thing too when it happened. Like me, I'm a professional wrestling promoter, booker, historian. You know what I mean? When you turn someone like that, and I go, you don't have time for him to be heel. You know what I mean? It takes a while to do a heel run like that, especially one of that magnitude. And I just knew that there wasn't going to be enough time to do it justice. And then, like we saw, it didn't really go anywhere where it was supposed to go. So
It just really just fizzled out. Like nobody really cared about it. They just wanted the old John Cena.
yeah.
It's really they just wanted the old John Cena back, and then they finally got it. And he got an amazing match with Cody Rhodes.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing too, and it shows how good John Cena is. And we talked about this. I've talked about this for years. It's like whether they cheered him or whether they booed him when he came out to the ring at the end of the match, they all reacted. You know what I mean? There was, one, two, three, the place went banana, as they say. And, in that promo, he was heel and he turned himself back babyface in 2 minutes in a promo. You know what I mean? After that entire 6 month run or whatever it was as being heel, he's so good that he all he had to do was tell the people, "Hey, I'm not a bad guy anymore. I'm a good guy." And like that was all it took. And they're like, "Yay, John Cena!" And that's a testament to how good he is on the mic and how good he is as a professional wrestler.
I mean, he really is a better baby face. Like he gave that little run as a heel, and it just didn't. I'll just say it again, it didn't work at all. It was just nobody wants him as a bad guy. Everybody wants him a good guy. Like it's better to boo him as the face than boo him as a bad guy.
Yeah, and the thing was, I think, like I said, I think it's a timing thing. I think if we would have had John Cena heel turn and we could have gave it a 3 year run, you know what I mean, like it deserved, I think we could have got with it. You know what I mean? But everyone knowing, hey, the end is right over that hill over there. We don't want you to end your career as a heel. We want you to end your career as a babyface. I think everybody just kind of saw the writing on the wall, and they were just kind of like, okay, this is fun for a minute, but we want the old John back.
And not to talk about the Cena and AJ Styles match,
Right,
which
right.
was quite amazing. Which is like, if that was the final match of Cena, that was a really good match. Like, you got everything you wanted. They paid homage to everybody they've wrestled in the past. Styles paid homage to TNA, which who would have ever thought in 2025 or even 2024 that we would be mentioning TNA? I know it's been going on for a few years since they worked together, but just to
Right.
see them,
Yeah, I mean, that was once the cardinal sin, right? To mention another wrestling company on WWE television. And now, Tony Khan tried to do the Forbidden Door, and WWE basically said, "Hey, hold my beer. We'll show you Forbidden Door." They're working with TNA, and they bought AAA, and I think there's actually I think they're going to eye a Japanese company next. Whether that's New Japan or All Japan or Noah or whatever it may be. I think that's probably the next step. But yeah, the match with them and TNA, and like the TNA stuff was, and if you this is back to the history of wrestling, we all picked up on the moves John Cena was doing, right? We all understood the Bray Wyatt, we all understood the skull crushing finale, and we understood all the moves that he was doing. Um, I don't not everyone picked up on the TNA ones. You know what I mean? Like, you had to be a real wrestling fan to know that he did the Angel's Wings, and he did the Samoa Joe Coquina Clutch, and he did all that kind of stuff. So that was an interesting little tidbit to me, hearing the different crowd reactions to the different eras and the different companies paying homage to.
and they had the crowd in the palm of their hands in that match. They
Yeah.
had them worked up.
Well, it's all storytelling, you know what I mean? Like, for me, for instance, I have a submission move that I've used for years that I love. It's called the Goldie Lock. You know what I mean? I love it. It's a unique move. It's mine, blah blah blah. But it never gets the same reaction as the figure four does when I use it. You know what I mean? Because the figure four is quite possibly the greatest submission in wrestling history. So like it's always fun to hear people's different reactions to that kind of stuff. So Cena's using some of the greatest moves of all time, with the tombstone and all that kind of stuff. So the crowd already is invested in those things because they know those things. And here is John Cena using them.
Because a lot of people don't even realize that John Cena is actually like a generational type of wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, their
Yeah.
kids grew up watching, and now their kids are watching him.
Yeah. Very, very true. And like I said, he's been a paragon of virtue that entire time. He's done the stuff with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and just been, hustle, loyalty, respect. And, like I said, generationally, we've got a couple generations of kids that grew up John Cena fans. So, I mean,
Mhm.
it's a pretty big deal.
So I wanted to move on to let's talk about the last two Raws that John Cena is going to be on, which is November the 10th and November the 17th. So I got a feeling that one of them's going to be a promo, and then the other one's going to be some kind of like group match. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a tag team or if it's going to be like a triple threat or a 4-on-4, but I'm more than sure we're going to get some kind of group match. I just can't see a one-on-one on Raw one more time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it really could go either way at this point. I mean, if I would like to see, two matches, obviously, just because we're at the end here, and I'd rather see a match than a promo, or we could do both. He can do promos on both of them. So yeah, and you're right. The decision becomes: do we want him to have a singles match, or do we want to put multiple people in a match so there's multiple people to get the chance to be in the ring with John Cena on this last run? I mean, what if they just did a battle royal, even though they did a battle royal last night?
Yeah.
What if they did another battle royal, and then like everyone on the roster pretty much got to be with them? It just
Beat up John Cena.
yeah, everyone got to beat up John Cena a little bit, or maybe he eliminates. It's a 20-man battle royal, and he eliminates 19 of them. Who knows? Uh, but yeah, it's interesting. Where are the last two Raws out? I know one's in New York, right?
One is in Boston on November the 10th, and the other one
Okay.
is actually in New York on November 17th.
So, and it's New York, it's MSG, isn't it? Or is it?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's on Madison Square Garden because I don't think it would be anywhere else.
I got you. Yeah, I mean that's obviously a huge deal too. His last MSG appearance, so I would hope we get something really big for it. So, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully, John Cena, does something really big on that MSG show for sure. And of course, Boston being so close to his home too. Professional wrestling is supposed to be. You're supposed to be excited for whatever's next. Wrestling never ends, right? The story
You
never
know,
ends. So, what's next?
I really want a confrontation between him and The Miz. I would want a match, but I don't know if it's in
Oh
the
yeah.
cards to have a match. But to get something with him and The Miz just one more time.
Yeah, the Miz is one of those guys that like when he first came out, I was a little on the fence because obviously the whole he came from reality TV and all that kind of stuff, but he grew on me very well, and he's such a hard worker, and everything he's been given, he's taken chicken shit and made chicken salad a lot of times. I mean, he's done really really well, and it'd be a nice little thank you from the company for him to have something with Cena on this last run since they were so tied together there for a while.
I mean, he was the main event of WrestleMania. He
Yeah,
was actually the
yeah,
one that set off the Rock versus Cena.
yeah, and he won that match. He retained the
Yeah.
title against Cena. So I mean, that's a big deal too. So I mean, and like I said, I don't think the Miz has really gotten his just due the last couple years. I think they're kind of, I don't know if they're forcing him out or they're just forcing him to the left. But either way, he hasn't been as featured as much as I would like him to be featured sometimes.
Yeah, I think watching The Miz lose like every day. It's basically every day where he shows up on Raw or
Yeah,
SmackDown and he just takes the loss. It just seems to be
right.
rinse and repeat at this point.
Yeah. But Cena did do the skull crushing finale in the AJ Styles match. So I mean, maybe that was a prelude to something.
Hopefully, I'm hoping. Like I remember when they were going to put The Miz on TNA, where he was going to go against Joe Henry, and then for some reason that didn't happen.
Right. I mean, why not at this point? I mean, that would be a huge shot in the arm for TNA. You know what I mean? And at least Miz would be in a main event program of some kind.
I don't know what that something is. It's just something.
Something.
Mhm. And then also let's talk about the potential of Cena versus Dominic for the Intercontinental Championship. That happened to be the last title that Cena needs to be considered a Grand Slam champion.
Right. Yeah, that would be huge. And Dom is one of the hottest talents today, so it would make sense. And obviously, with that being a like we talked about, a generational thing too. Cena and Ray being close together as far as like tagging up, and even Cena beating Ray for one of his WWE championships. And then now here he is wrestling his son in one of his final appearances for the last title that he needs to get. That would be a big deal too. I mean, obviously Ray's on excuse me, Dominic's on a huge swing right now with the being the AAA Mega Champion and being the Intercontinental Champion and just being not just one of the best workers on the show, but actually being one of the best characters, in WWE. People just react to him no matter what he's doing, whether he's, defending the title or he's talking about, his love of chicken nuggies or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Everyone reacts to Dominic Mysterio. So
He's always making fun of
yeah,
Penta.
yeah. And the
Oh, he
mullet and
loves making fun of Penta.
yeah. I don't understand Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, so I don't understand some of the stuff he says. I know he was cussing them last night, I think.
Okay, so when he goes, no
Say it.
fear,
Yeah, yeah.
sin miedo,
Yeah.
he's pinche pendejo. It's dumb. He's like, dumb.
Right, right.
And he's just like always poking at him, always poking at him. And then you see it on the internet.
Hmm.
And then when they bring up Penta, when Penta is brought up the word Dominic, he just goes ballistic. Like I don't know if you've seen some
I
of these interviews, huh?
I hadn't paid attention to that part. What's he doing to him?
I was just driving him up the wall. Does anybody
Right,
mention Dominic's up the wall?
right.
But yeah, Dominic, it really is the next big star in WWE.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Size is always an issue in WWE. I mean, even after all these years with them pushing smaller guys to certain levels, but it's always going to be a thing. So, if he could put on some mass and really get a much better physique, and then, he's wearing the full body suit right now. If he could take the top off and just wear the long tights, and he was kind of halfway jacked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would make a world of difference to Dominic.
I think that body's coming. I think that Dominic
I
body
think
is
I think
coming.
Yeah, when he first started, he was, he was a rider, I think, and he was chubby and he was, all this, and he's made huge strides in his body and stuff like that. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he's working on his body, and then one day he comes out without that top on, and he's, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Where he does a Roman Reigns where he
he does
has,
this anyway, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
but there's nothing there.
yeah, which is heel heat too, you know what I mean? He does this and like everyone's like, you're not even muscular. So
It's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, I wanted to bring up the very last match. So the rumor is it's Cena versus Gunther, and apparently they're going to have some kind of tournament because we're talking about the internet, and they spoil everything. So apparently
right.
the last match is going to be Cena versus Gunther, but that's just you take that for
Just a
what it
rumor.
is. It's a rumor.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this too because, like, we've always talked about how some things kind of get misconstrued. Like in the territory days, when you were leaving the territory, you always left on your back. You know what I mean? Because you weren't going to be there and it was time to put over the next guy. If you're leaving the business altogether and you're a guy as the level of John Cena has been at, I mean, it's almost like he deserves to go out on top, I mean, for everything he's done for the company. Uh, so it's kind of it could happen either way. So, but if it's Gunther, what I mean? I almost feel like Gunther's got to beat Cena, you know what I mean? Because I don't think Cena beating Gunther in that last match is going to be the hooray thing we're talking about. If it ends up being, and this is dream booking, obviously, but I mean, if it ended up
Could
being
dream.
an
We could
Edge,
dream the dream.
if it ended up being Edge, for some reason, like they made a deal and Edge could be the final guy, then yeah, Cena goes over. You know what I mean? So,
Oh God. If it was Edge, they would lose their minds. The wrestling
yeah,
community would just
what
lose it. I can tell you they
which
would lose it.
which I've actually heard a rumor that with Andrade jumping to AEW and not completing his 90-day no compete clause, that WWE is actually using that as leverage to maybe borrow Edge for the 1 night,
I
which
hope
is
so.
that's all dirt sheet stuff. But I mean, that's
Yeah,
a fun thing to think about, though, isn't it? Like,
it is.
you know,
That's
they're,
quite entertaining knowing that you had a guy who knows or doesn't know that they're under restrictions, goes
right.
off and wins a championship in Mexico, and then shows up in AEW
Or
knowing
maybe,
that
and
they're
I love being a conspiracy theorist too sometimes. Maybe WWE did this on purpose and they released him and then he went there and didn't tell him he had a 90-day no compete and they got in all this hot water and now we're looking at, hey, we'll let this slide if you let Edge come over for a night and do this last match.
I would love to see Cena versus Edge one more time. It'll be the biggest 5-10 minute match you're gonna get because I don't know how much energy those two could expend from
Oh
watching
no,
Randy and
I
Cena.
just watched Edge just went 40 minutes not that long ago I watched. So I mean he's got it. He can go. They can get there, trust me.
So what have we got? So what if we got Cena versus Braun Breaker? Like he's also one of the pillars of WWE's future.
Yeah. That'd be interesting too. I mean, he's a guy that I really, even though we got Cody win the title, originally me thinking there, I'm thinking, man, who deserves to beat Roman Reigns on that long run he had? Like, who really deserves it? And to me, it's like, let's create the ultimate new star right now. And to me, like I wouldn't have mind Braun Breaker beating Roman then. You know what I mean? And we just created this fascination with Braun Breaker getting called up and him beating Roman out the gate. You know what I mean? One of Braun Breaker's favorite wrestlers, even though he's a Steiner, one of his favorite wrestlers is Goldberg. So, why not play into that too? Right.
I don't understand why they don't just give us Steiner, and I'm just gonna say Steiner. Like I know it's because he's a
Yeah, no,
Steiner. He'll
I
always
call
be
him
a
Steiner.
Steiner.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was my thing too, is like when he showed up in NXT, like, first of all, the first show that he was on in Georgia before, when he first started wrestling, the first show he ever did, one of my buddies, it was his show. And I messaged him and I said, "Hey, let me know how the Steiner kid does, because I would love to bring him up here to Tennessee." And like I messaged him a few days after, so he said, "Oh man, he did great. He's a natural, blah blah blah." And then of course he ends up being signed like in 6 months. You know what I mean? Um, so like for him, like he's just, when he went to NXT, it was like Braun Breaker. It's like, okay, let's see. He wears the Steiner gear. He looks just like him. He talks just like his dad and his uncle. Like if you close your eyes and listen, you can hear Scott. You know what I mean? And like he's doing all their moves. He's doing the belly to bellies. He's doing the Steiner line. He's doing the recliner. He's doing the Frankensteiner. He's doing the catch power slam. He's doing everything. But we don't want to call him Steiner because that'll make everyone think of his dad and his uncle. Well, he's already doing everything his dad and uncle does. So what's the difference? Let's just call him Steiner.
I think we might get that eventually, and it'll be a huge pop when he's this. Like I'm not Braun Breaker, I'm Braun Steiner. Or
It's a possibility. I mean, stranger things have happened. I would welcome a Steiner change, but you know how WWE is with copyrights and stuff like that. They may
yeah,
they may they may hold true to that just so they can own the name Breaker.
I know. I still remember when they did that. They had to do that wording in TNA with Cody Rhodes, where their name
Right,
was Cody and Brandy Rhodes.
right.
I got a giggle now
Just,
that I've like learned a little bit.
right. It was always kind of weird too. And like, I think like Bubba Ray Dudley, they couldn't be called Dudley, right? So he was Bubba, like Buh space Buh space Ray. Bubba Ray. That's how they sidestepped the copyright on it. There's just different ones like that. So it's
Now,
always
was there
weird.
anything else that we can add about this John Cena's finishing his career?
I don't know, I mean, like I said, unless it's, like I said, there's still a possibility it could be The Rock. We don't know. I mean, like I said, the Gunther stuff is just rumors at this point. You know what I mean? If I was going to sit here and go, okay, what's the biggest match? It would probably be The Rock. But if I was going to say what's going to be the best match, I would say Edge. For the
Yeah.
returning, the Forbidden Door aspect of it, and just the fact that the kind of chemistry they've had over their careers, I think they would have probably the best match. If we're looking, hey, this is Cena's last thing and all he wants to do is build the next guy for the future, then yeah, Gunther's the guy. So Gunther or Breaker.
Can you imagine having WWE and AEW working together? And it took Andre, it took what's his name going over there and messing everything up.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what started a working agreement.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so political and stuff like that. There ain't no telling what's going on up there.
But yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for coming on. Greg Anthony, thank you for coming on. You just had your biggest show, just happened. Where can we watch it?
So yeah, we Pro Wrestling Mid South, and we do every Friday night in Ripley, Tennessee, and every Saturday night in Dyersburg, Tennessee. If you subscribe to our Facebook page, it's $9.99 a month, and you can see all of our Saturday night events on live stream. So it's basically you get 4 or 5 shows a month for $10. So you can't beat that price. You know what I mean? We usually do 5 or 6 matches on a Saturday night, and we've got a lot of great young talent. Um, we just had our 11th anniversary, so we ain't going anywhere. We're one of the longest running companies in our area, and we do about 125 events a year. So I mean, we're rocking and rolling, and we would love to. Obviously, I do things like this so we can broaden our range and have people come on and see what kind of product we're producing. If you don't like what WWE's doing, you don't like what AEW's doing, you don't like TNA, maybe you don't like those kind of things, look at some of the independents. Look at us. We're doing. I tell everybody we're as old school as you can get. We're as close to 1985 and 2025 as you're going to get. So if you like old school professional wrestling, if you use the phrase, I used to be a wrestling fan more than I am a wrestling fan, then we're the company for you.
And thank you again, Greg, for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.